Okay, hello guys. Today we are going to be taking a look at Canvas. We're going to be looking at pages and we're going to be walking through some very specific things with pages. Before we get started, I just want to remind you that Pages in Canvas is really just a great way for you to put content in for your students. So think of it as kind of a web page that would hold the content that you want to give to students. And it's typically the content that you want to give to them that isn't aligned to an assignment. So there's not going to be anything that they're turning back into you. This is simply to be able to give them the content and to give them the content in an organized way. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I'm going to jump into Canvas and we're going to kind of walk through how we would set up pages today. Share my entire screen with you guys. And I'm going to jump in to, let me start back at my dashboard so that we can go from our course cards here. So I'm actually going to be going into a course that I need to start working on, which is a book study that I'll be doing this summer. And when I jump in there, I want to remind you that on the left-hand side, next to our global navigation, you're going to have all the different sections that you have inside of Canvas. And the section that we're going to be looking closely at today is Pages. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Pages. And when I click on Pages, it's going to jump to my welcome page, which is set as my front page right now, which we did in a previous webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and click on View All Pages. And this is going to take me to my page index. You'll notice that this is a new course, so I'm just setting it up. So there's not many pages inside here. I'm going to go to the upper right-hand corner and I'm going to click on the plus pages. And this is going to get me to my editor where I can start creating my page. So I'm going to be creating a page for chapter 2 of this particular book study. So I need to type in my title, that's required. And then we're going to come down underneath and we're going to be looking at this rich text editor. So you've seen this rich text editor in other instances in Canvas. So we're going to be walking through this. So some of this is going to start looking familiar. So we have our tools and then I also have a menu on top of this. So let's start off and let's add an image. I'm going to go to my toolbar and I'm going to come over here to my image tool. I'm going to drop down the arrow next to it and you'll notice that I have a couple choices on what kind of images that I can add. So I'm going to go ahead and do upload image. And when I upload this image, I'm going to click on upload image again. And I actually saved a screenshot on my desktop of the cover of the book. So I'm going to go ahead and click open and submit. And that's going to add that image to my page. There's a couple ways to work with the images once we're inside here. I can actually use the handles on the side of the image and I can reduce the size of that because that's way too big. Or if I want to get in deeper, I can go to image options. There's a couple of things under image options that I want to point out to you. Number one is this alt text right here. I would encourage you to use this alt text because the alt text allows us that if we have anyone that needs extra support and rolls over that image, then it will know to speak that title to them if they're not able to see that image. I want to keep it as embed. And then I can even change the size here as well. So it gives me some size options that I can change as well, even getting as detailed as custom and going by pixels. I'm going to go ahead and click done. So now we have an image on here. I'm going to go ahead and go down to the tool in the lower right-hand corner, and I'm going to go ahead and make this full size because as I'm working with this page, I think we'll need a little bit more real estate to see what's going on. So the next thing that I want to add is I'm going to add text, and you'll notice that the cursor is already on there, which means that we're ready to type my text. So since I'm working with chapter 2, I'm going to go ahead and do chapter 2, embracing a partnership with blended learning. And then just like with any text in our rich text editor, I can go through and I can format this text. So you'll notice that I have the choice to change the point size, or I can just change the style of it. So I'm going to say this is a heading. And then of course I can go through and I can bold this, I can italicize it, I can underline it, I can change the color if I want to change the color of it as well. I can highlight it. So I do have some choices of how I work with that content. And we'll kind of come back and do a little more formatting a little bit later. The next thing that I want to show you is I want to show you how to insert a link here. So on our toolbar, we have our link icon, and there's two different types of links that we can add. We can add an external link and we can add a course link. So the first thing that I want my participants in my book study to have is I want them to be able to access Catlin Tucker's actual website. So I want to create an external link. Before I do that though, I'm going to actually go to that website and I want to make sure that I copy that URL directly. So I'm going to use my shortcuts for copy, and then I'm going to go ahead and do an external link and I'm going to paste that in there. And I'm going to include the text that says, visit Catlin Tucker's website. I'm going to click done, and that's going to go ahead and put that link, that external link in there. Now underneath it, I might want to give my teachers a little bit more direction, and I might want to say that after reading chapter 2, please make sure to respond to the following discussion questions. So what I really am doing is I'm really taking them through the lesson, through the work that I want them to do. And instead of like creating a module that has link to this, link to this, link to this, I'm actually putting it all in one. So it makes sense to follow those steps. So if I want to link them to discussion questions, that's actually an internal link because I've already created those. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this link. I'm going to say course links, and it's going to bring up my course links here. And I can click on discussions because that's what I want to link them to. And I can select those discussions. So now when my participants come in, they can just link directly there. They don't have to back out of that page. They don't have to go to that discussion section. It's going to be right there. It's going to be in the discussions too, but it's going to be right there on that page so that everything they need is in one place, which is what our goal is here. So after I have them do some discussion questions, I might want to add some media in here. So actually I want to add my media up top because this might be like me explaining what we're going to be doing in chapter 2. So I'm going to move my cursor so it's in the right place. And then I'm going to come up to my media tool and I'm going to say upload record media. You'll notice when I go to upload and record media that I can record directly from here. So here I am and I'm ready to record. So I would click start recording. I'm going to have a little countdown for myself. And this would be where I'd say, hey guys, we're ready for chapter 2. I'm really excited about this one because it's really talking about that partnership with blended learning, which can be so important and really can help give you balance back in your classroom. And then once I'm finished with my video introduction that I'm doing, then I can click on the finish button. And that's a lovely picture that it captures there, yay me. And I can click on save, and that's going to embed that video directly into my page. So it's right there for my participants. It's processing for a second, so we'll give it a chance and we'll go ahead and move along. So after this, I might want to go ahead and I might want to include a document in here. So there's lots of different documents that we have. So if I come over to my document tool, I can click on the arrow down and I can get some options of how I want to bring this document in. So I'm going to upload a document. And when I click on upload a document, this is actually bringing a document from my computer. So I'm going to click on upload file. And in my downloads section, I have quite a few things, but one thing that I have in my downloads is I have an actual file that is a lesson plan for doing a station rotation. And unfortunately, no previews available for this. So I'm going to click submit. And this is actually linking me to the file. And here we have it. It showed up. Wish you could change your thumbnail on that one, but unfortunately you can't. So that is what it is. So I was able to actually upload a file and put it right in there. Now we can also include files like maybe that we've created already in Google Docs. So I'm going to actually show you my next tool that I want to feature, which is this apps. So let's view all of these just so you guys can get an idea of all the apps that you can bring into Pages, including Canvas Studio. You have two different Google ones. You have Google Apps and you have Google Drive. And I'm going to show you the Google Drive, but I also want to show you that you can bring in things from Khan, TED, Ed, YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to Google Drive. And it is going to have me connect to my Google Drive. And then it brings up my recents, which is great because this is what I've been working on recently. And I want to include this template for my participants. What I really like about this Google Drive one is that when I attach a file, they'll change the share settings so that it allows anybody who has access to access it. So you don't have to worry about going back into your Google Drive and changing your permissions because it's going to do all of that for you right away. So I'm going to click attach. And then once I attach, you'll notice that that embeds right in. So it's embedded it all the way directly in. Before I go back and I format some of these things, I do want to just show you some of the other tools that you have available to you. So you do have the ability to add a table, which we're going to do in just a second. I do want to show you, though, that you can insert math equations in here. So if I click on my math equation, I'm going to get a math equation editor, and you'll notice that this does this in LaTeX. So any of my math friends, this is an option for you. And then you also have the ability to do embed code. So if you wanted to bring something in through embed code, so I'm just thinking real quickly like book creator, you can have a book that you create with content in it, and then it's going to bring that in with embed code so that it is embedded directly into your page. So now that I have the content on my page that I want, it looks not very well laid out. So I just kind of want to walk through some things that I might do to make sure that my content is laid out nice. So I like to use tables when I'm working inside of Canvas to help lay things out a little bit. So I'm going to come here to my table, and I'm just going to create one row and two columns, because what I'm thinking is I really want that book next to the title of the chapter here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this book. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to paste it in one side of my table. And then I'm going to take this header that I created for chapter 2. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to paste it back in. And then I can go through and I can kind of modify my table here. So if I want to move this to the center, I can use my alignment options. I can move this to the center. I can take my header. I might want to do the same thing with my header. I might want to align this to the center. And then when I click off, you'll notice that I have that table there. Now, I really like the use of tables, but I don't really want those lines on the outside of those tables. So I can come through and I can highlight my table, and I can go to my table properties. And on my table properties, I can just change my border width to 0. So that just means that I'm not going to be actually seeing that when I'm in there. So here I have my title, and then I'm going to come underneath. And if I want to take my video that I made and I want to center that, I can go ahead and center that. Let's see if we have video options here. Maybe that stays on the left-hand side. Maybe we're not able to do that. And then I can come through, and if I need to move any of these around, I'm able to move those around too, or make them bigger or change the color of them so that that layout is just a little bit nicer. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to escape out of full screen mode so that I can scroll down and show you that once you get your page the way that you want it, you can come down to the bottom and you can click save, or you can click save and publish if you want this to be published as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click save and publish. And then we can see how that's laid out and what it's going to look like as well. I can come back to view all pages, and this will take me to my pages index. And now on our pages index, you can see that I have a welcome page, which is set as my front page. And I can also see that I have a page called Chapter 2. If you want to know more about how to make this front page, remember that in a previous webinar, we talked about using pages as our front page. From my pages index, though, there's a couple of features that are really important for you guys to know. And one of those is a little 3 dots next to that page. I want you to see on the 3 dots that this is where I can go. If I want to delete a page out, I can. If I want to change and use that as a front page, I can do that. I can duplicate it. So if I create a page that I know I'm going to modify a lot, I would just want to duplicate this. And then I also have the option to send to another course or copy to another course as well. Okay, so that's working with pages inside that pages section. I also wanted to show you real quickly that one of the great things that we can do is we can work with modules to organize our information. And you have the ability from a module to add a page too. So I wanted to show you what that would look like. I'm inside of modules, and right now I have my week 1 module. When I have my week 1 module, I can click the plus sign and I can add a page directly to that module. So here I have my Chapter 2 page that I could add to that module, my welcome page, or if I want to create a new one, I'm able to create a new one right from here. So if I want to create a page that has all the information about LU credit, I can go ahead and I can add that page directly here. And then if I'm ready to start editing it, I can come over and I can edit that page by indenting it, or I can click on it and I can choose edit from here as well. And that's going to take me in where I have my rich text editor, and I'm ready to edit that as well. Okay, so a couple different ways to get to your pages. So that kind of takes you through just a few tools inside of pages that can help you to organize that content a little bit more. I wanted to take a look at a couple things, and I wanted to come over and show you some examples of 2 different Canvas courses from our teachers and how they use pages. So I'm going to come over and I am going to navigate to that real quickly so that I can show that, and then I will share that with you. So one of them is one of our high school math teachers, and what I like about the way she uses pages is that she uses pages for her front page, which I would recommend for sure. But what she does is that she changes that front page to be weekly so that it has like really important reminders and it has assignments and all sorts of things on there. So let me come back over and let me present my entire screen again so that we can jump into Mrs. Hallemeyer's Algebra 1 strategies. So you can see that when I jump into her Algebra 1 strategies, this is her class. This is her home page or her front page. And then when I come over here to pages and I do view all pages, you can see this is a list of all the pages that she has in her course. And you'll notice that each week she changes that page and modifies it so that you can and let's just click on one real quickly so that you can see what we're doing on each day of the week, and it's linked, and then also has any of that missing work. And then she actually changes it to be the front page for each week. So it's the first thing that kids see, which I thought was just a really great idea. I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting real quickly, and I'm going to go ahead and navigate to another teacher's. I want to navigate to another teacher's course because I want to show you that this is just like a really good way to use it when you're just trying to figure out like how to set up your content. So we're going to look at a physics course here, a high school physics course. And in this high school physics course, I'm going to share my screen with you real quickly. In this high school physics course, of course, in physics, they have lots of labs, and we have to have the directions for those labs. So a page would be a perfect place for us to go and set up all the directions for that. So once again, jumping in, front page is an actual page as well that just gives students that basic information that they're going to need. But then I'm going to view all pages. And when I view all pages, you can see the different pages that this teacher has created. But I'm going to come down and I'm going to go to this lab, this Poppers lab. Because you can see then on this Poppers lab that we've included text, we've included images, we've included links, and this is going to walk students through how to set up this lab and how to complete this lab as well. So lots of links, but lots of text. And that's just a way to organize that content for our students, is to be able to use those pages to help us with that as well. One last thing that I want to take a look at real quick is I want to point us back to our Canvas checklist. As we work through our webinar series, we're working through some of these basic skills that we're going to need to be able to work with Canvas day one, starting next school year. So I want to look at these creating pages, and I just want to point out that after you go through some of the tools and tips that we've talked about in today's webinar, is that now you can create a page using that rich context editor and adding links to that as well. So you're able to check off 3 more boxes on that getting started with Canvas checklist. As always, if you have any questions or you need any additional resources, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of your tech coaches. We're always happy to help you and support you. Have a great day, guys.